Greetings to all of you. We are pleased to have you back on the channel. Today, we are going to go into a conundrum that is so staggering that it has the potential to alter everything you thought you understood about angels, heaven, and even the Bible itself. Have you ever pondered the reason for the connection between Michael, the powerful archangel, and a mystery that is so sinister and peculiar that it is concealed in an obscure text? The Book of Enoch is a long-lost text that contains crazy tales that are not found anywhere else. We are discussing this book. I am going to disclose something fantastic concerning Michael and the wives of the fallen angels, so make sure you stay until the very end of this article. Let's get this saga started. Having said that, let us now go into the Book of Enoch. Why should you be concerned about this enigmatic writing? And what exactly is it? Take a look at this. A man by the name of Enoch roamed the planet thousands of years ago, before to the deluge that swept the whole world away. He was not a typical guy in any way. It is said in the Bible that he did not even die. Rather, God took him directly to heaven. He was Noah's great-grandfather, and the Bible describes him as a character of such holiness. However, here is when things start to heat up. It's not like Enoch just disappeared. He left behind a book, which he said was a chronicle of supernatural revelations that he had received from the divine. I'm not talking about some ancient dusty journal here. There are cosmic wars, rebellious angels, and forbidden knowledge that rocked the foundations of existence, and this narrative is really mind-blowing. So, what exactly is inside this book? There is a difference between this and the typical Sunday school narrative that you learn. The Book of Enoch provides information that is not included in the traditional Bible. It contains elements that are seen to be too peculiar, too hazardous, and maybe even too horrifying to be included. The angels who left their positions in heaven descended to earth and set in motion a series of events that were so disastrous that they ultimately led to the deluge itself, are the subject of this discussion. In the realm of history, this passage is more than simply a footnote. Scholars, theologians, and anyone who are looking for the truth have been pondering puzzles for generations, and here is the key to unlocking those secrets. The kicker, however, is to come. This particular Bible does not include the Book of Enoch. The early leaders of the church, who were responsible for deciding what was included, opted to exclude it and disregard it. How come? Some people believe that it was too radical and too upsetting. According to several others, it exposed realities that they had hoped to conceal, but it managed to survive. It has been shown that it is as ancient as the earliest biblical writings by the discovery of fragments of it in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Even now, it is revered as holy in some parts of the globe, such as the church in Ethiopia. This is not a made-up story, as shown by the fact that it is true. A glimpse into a secret history is provided by this. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the situation. The Book of Enoch is not only a collection of strange tales that have been thrown together at random. In particular, it describes the fall of a group of angels known as the Watchers. This is a thorough narrative of what went wrong in the skies. These guardians were not your typical nice, radiant guardians who played harps. They were mighty entities that were charged with the responsibility of guarding mankind. However, they did not only observe the event. It was a line that they crossed, a line that was so prohibited that it caused pandemonium all throughout the world. Where is that disorder? There is a connection between everything that happened and the ladies that they married, women whose attractiveness triggered a revolt that altered everything. Please give it some thought for a moment. Because of something that they saw on earth, angels, who are creatures of light and perfection, have descended from heaven. Is there anything that might be so seductive and so intoxicating that it would cause them to disobey him? This is not something that the Book of Enoch avoids discussing. In it, everything is laid out in detail, including names, dates, and the repercussions that followed. Michael, the archangel of justice, who saw all that had place, is shown standing in the center of this cosmic drama. We are being led directly to a secret that has been hidden for millennia, and his part in this narrative is far more significant than you may think it is. What is it about this that is so important to you? Mainly due to the fact that the Book of Enoch is not only an outdated fable. Our preconceived notions about what constitutes good and evil, as well as the forces that govern our world, are called into question. By this, it poses questions that no one else would have the courage to ask. Before the flood, what exactly took place? Who exactly were these angels, and what made them act in a way that was contrary to their mission? And maybe most significantly, what particular information did Michael possess that the rest of us do not? We are going to unearth a fact that is both interesting and scary. So hold on to your hats, for we are about to peel back the layers of this ancient text's content. All right, let's go. The fallen angels and the women they abducted as spouses are the subject of this fantastic story. So let's get right into it. Take a look at this. The skies were filled with 200 heavenly creatures, each of whom was luminous and strong. These angels were not like any other angels. As the Watchers, they were charged with the responsibility of studying mankind. The situation, however, shifted. They were restless since they were led by ferocious commanders, such as Azazel and Semjaza at this time. As they gazed at the daughters of mankind, they were mesmerized by the elegance, beauty, and appeal that they had. It wasn't simply a casual gaze that was exchanged. Not at all. Rather, it was a raging impulse that engulfed them and drew them down from the heavens. Think about the situation. These magnificent entities, who were shrouded in light, were leaving their places. They did not only look on in awe from a distance, with an aim that was so prohibited that it would rock the foundations of existence. They descended and stepped upon the ground. Their words were like thunder, wrapped in silk, as they approached these ladies, offering things that no human could ever hope to achieve. Capacity. It is knowledge. Maybe immortality is the answer. Do you mean the women? When it comes to these otherworldly suitors, some people claim that they were captivated and carried away by their allure. Others murmur that they were unable to act because they were trapped in the grasp of forces that were too powerful to resist. In any case, the boundaries between heaven and earth were more hazy on that particular day. The events that followed were beyond comprehension. Not only were these marriages scandalous, but they also contributed to the development of something horrible. The Nephilim people, giants that were half angel and half human, towering above the surface of the earth. It was clear that they were not kind animals. In addition to being aggressive and unpredictable, they were a live witness to a revolt that had gone too far. Since their sheer presence was a stain on the universe that God had created, the ground shook beneath their weight as they wandered about. It became darker in the sky. The chaos soon spread. Not only did the Watchers teach their wives forbidden secrets, but they also taught their women the skills of war, magic, and seduction. They turned towns into battlegrounds and turned innocence into ashes. However, it is not only the Nephilim who contribute to the unsettling nature of this novel. Keep those ladies in your thoughts for a fleeting time. Were they consenting participants in this cosmic treachery due to the fact that they were caught up in their affection for their heavenly lovers? Were they only puppets, caught by entities so strong that they were unable to refuse their demands? Their names have been lost to the passage of time, but their destiny will be remembered for generations to come. There were those who became mothers to monsters, while others vanished into the shadows, bearing the burden of a decision or a curse that they never completely understood about themselves. This wasn't a relationship straight out of a fairy tale. The collision of worlds was like a spark that sparked the wrath of the god. This is when things start to become more difficult. Without a doubt, this was not a minor issue that was covered up. The corruption spread throughout the whole system, contaminating everything. According to the Book of Enoch, the earth itself cried out and moaned under the violence and immorality that these couplings unleashed upon the world's population. Fragmentation of humanity started to occur. They consumed resources, fought with mankind, and transformed paradise into a wilderness. Nephilim were responsible for all of these things. The Watchers, who had been protectors in the past, have turned into destroyers, and their heavenly light has been transformed into something terrible. That initial move, that daring leap from grace to greed, is directly responsible for all that happened. You can actually feel the air become colder as the ramifications emerge, since it is such a monumental and awful decline. What exactly does this imply then? It lays the groundwork for a duel to take place. It was impossible for the heavens to overlook this. God was unable to allow it to continue. On the other hand, who do you believe will walk into the pandemonium in order to confront this mess? No, you are correct. Michael, the Archangel of Justice, is prepared to meet the consequences of the situation with his sword in his hand. But here's the surprise that we'll get to later. Michael saw everything that happened. He was familiar with these spouses, these ladies who would be caught in the crossfire. Furthermore, what he did or did not do could very well be the key that unlocks the door to unimaginable possibilities. Come along with me. It's only the beginning of our journey. Greetings to all of you. We are pleased to have you back on the channel. Today, we are going to go into a conundrum that is so staggering that it has the potential to alter everything you thought you understood about angels, heaven, and even the Bible itself. Have you ever pondered the reason for the connection between Michael, the powerful archangel, and a mystery that is so sinister and peculiar that it is concealed in an obscure text? The Book of Enoch is a long-lost text that contains crazy tales that are not found anywhere else. We are discussing this book. I am going to disclose something fantastic concerning Michael and the wives of the fallen angels. So make sure you stay until the very end of this article. Let's get this saga started. Begin with discussing the Book of Enoch, shall we? On the contrary, it is not your usual sacred book. A long time before the deluge that wiped out the earth, it is stated that Enoch, Noah's great-grandfather, was the one who wrote this ancient literature. This book is a compilation of visions, prophecies, and stories that are too odd to be included in the established Bible. It has been suggested by some that it was intentionally omitted because it was deemed either too hazardous or too weird to be included. However, here's the real deal. Those disobedient watchers who left heaven are the subject of this book, which is packed with information regarding fallen angels. Also, this is the point at which our tale starts. Envision this for a moment. There are 200 angels that come to the conclusion that they have had enough of heaven. They are headed by names such as Azazel, and Semjaza. They take a peek at the planet Earth and see something that they are unable to ignore. All ladies on Earth. Amazingly stunning and intriguing, unlike anything else in the heavenly universe. In a show of defiance, these angels come to an agreement and make a pledge. Sorcery, weapon making, and the mysteries of the universe are among the prohibited secrets that they teach these women once they descend and take them as spouses. Nephilim, who are enormous hybrid children that wreak devastation on the planet, are the offspring of couples who have been married. A scandal of such widespread proportions that it infuriates God himself, so laying the groundwork for anarchy and judgment. Enter Michael, the archangel who is responsible for justice. It's not like he's simply a minor person in this conversation. Michael, the captain of God's celestial army, is depicted as the ultimate enforcer in the Book of Enoch. Work that he does to keep an eye on this mess and to thoroughly clean it up. The fallen angels are going to be chained in darkness till the end of time, and he is the one who has been sent after them. On the other hand, his function entails more than merely wielding a sword that is consumed by flames. Indeed, Michael is more than simply a fighter. Everything that takes place is something that he is a witness to. He witnesses the uprising, witnesses the weddings, and witnesses the birth of the Nephilim. And here is when things start to go crazy. The book simply makes a passing reference to the fact that he is aware of something about these spouses, something that has the potential to completely turn the narrative upside down. Imagine for a moment, supposing Michael's goal was not just about imposing retribution. What would happen if he hoarded a secret that had the potential to completely transform everything? In light of this, let's investigate that mystery. Just for a moment, picture Michael hovering far above the planet, his golden wings glowing and his eyes penetrating the pandemonium below down. The ladies who are the spouses of the fallen angels are caught up in a scenario that they did not ask for. He sees them. The allure of supernatural entities may have enticed them to become willing partners, but were they really doing so? On the other hand, were they victims who were overpowered by forces that were beyond their control? Although it is not explicitly stated in the Book of Enoch, it is important to consider it. Everyday women, such as daughters of farmers, weavers, and mothers, found themselves unexpectedly confronted with heavenly rebels who had the ability to modify reality itself. Would they be able to say no? Did they even have a choice in the matter? Additionally, Michael, who is the defender of morality, is keeping a close eye on everything. He is informed of the truth. He is able to see their distress, their wonder, and maybe even their sorrow. It is possible that he is experiencing something as well, such as sympathy, pity, or even a glimmer of uncertainty over the severe punishment that he is tasked with delivering. Imagine for a moment if Michael, the uncompromising archangel, harbored latent feelings of compassion for them. What would happen if he begged God to make an exception for them, to see them as more than simply puppets in this cosmic rebellion? There is more to this than a footnote. The revelation is a bombshell that alters our perception of him. In addition to being a chilly executioner, he is also, as a witness, he is caught between duty and compassion, and he is in possession of a secret that has the potential to disturb the skies. On the other hand, the narrative does not end there. The process of judgment is swift and severe. The fallen angels are rounded up and placed in a prison of endless shadows by Michael, who is leading the charge throughout this operation. Those monster progeny, known as the Nephilim, also meet their end, either by being overcome by the anger of God or by being drowned in the flood. Do you mean the wives? Their future is shrouded in uncertainty. The narrative leaves them dangling, as if they were quiet figures that were carried away in the chaos. Nevertheless, Michael was present. This is what he saw happening to them. Is it possible that they died along with their children? Were they doomed to roam, utterly forgotten by the annals of history? Or did Michael, in some covert act of grace, ask for their souls to be saved, even though they were already dead? All we can do is speculate. Exactly this is what we are aware of. His function was not limited to only punishing, being a witness to a catastrophe that muddled the distinctions between good and evil, as well as between heavenly order and human pain. This was the experience. Consequently, what does all of this imply? We are forced to reconsider everything as a result of Michael's secret. It is not just the luminous hero of stories told in Sunday school that he is. A complicated character, he is burdened by what he has seen, and it is possible that he is even plagued by it. The Book of Enoch provides us with a look into a world in which angels are known to fall, women are known to suffer, and justice is not as straightforward as it may seem. Could Michael be concealing additional information when it comes to heaven, hell, and all in between? Can this ancient literature hold the key to revealing larger truths? That is something that I will leave up to you to determine. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. If Michael felt sorry for those ladies, did he? Should we go even farther into the mysteries surrounding Enoch? Please give this a thumbs up if you found it entertaining. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep your curiosity alive, everyone. With that out of the way, let's get to the bottom of this enigma. The spouses of the fallen angels are the subject of a frightening truth that Michael may be keeping hidden. Put on your seatbelts, because here is where things are going to get crazy. Imagine this. These ladies, who were both very beautiful and very mortal, drew the attention of creatures who existed far beyond their planet. These beings were strong angels who left heaven itself in order to be with these women. The question that keeps me up at night is the one that I will now discuss. Or were these ladies victims of something far more sinister? Or were they really eager players in this cosmic scandal? Consider the situation. However, these were not your typical suitors that were knocking on their homes. These were heavenly creatures who exuded strength, intellect, and a certain type of appeal that no human being could possibly resist their seduction. Imagine a towering figure coming down from the heavens, gleaming with a brilliance that is incomprehensible to the human eye, and murmuring promises of forbidden knowledge. Would there be anybody who would refuse that? Although I don't know how you feel about it, I think it seems more like a trap than a romantic relationship. Although it is not explicitly stated in the Book of Enoch, there are hints that may be found hidden within its pages about it. Nephilim, giants that shook the ground with their mere feet, were their offspring, and these women carried them. And conclusion like that does not seem like anything out of a fairy tale to me. On the surface, it seems to be a burden, a curse that they did not initiate. The next person to enter the picture is Michael. In his role as the Archangel of Justice, he saw everything occur. He saw as these angels fell, watched as they took these ladies, and watched as the havoc that ensued flowed from their actions. What would happen, however, if he witnessed more than simply rebellion? If Michael, who was standing there with his sword that was blazing, looked into the eyes of these ladies, he would see dread rather than desire. What if he came to the realization that they were just souls stuck in a game that they were unable to win? rather than the seductive women that the legends portray them to be. If you will, give it some thought. Furthermore, he is a guardian in addition to being a fighter. Would it have been possible for him to experience a twinge of empathy or a glimmer of compassion for these ladies who were caught between heaven and hell? Let us delve even farther. Magic, metallurgy, and other things that humans were not supposed to know were among the concealed skills that the fallen angels taught their wives. There is no doubt that this is fantastic. Nevertheless, it also gives the impression of control. Did these ladies have the status of pupils, or were they used as pawns? It is possible that they chose this life, but it is also possible that they were caught up in a storm of divine rebellion from which they were unable to escape. There is a possibility that Michael, with his penetrating look, realized the truth. He could have been aware that these women were not the bad guys in this situation. It is possible that he would have argued that they were deserving of compassion rather than judgment before the throne of God. Even if it isn't stated explicitly in the text, we can't help but sense that the stillness is oppressive. As Michael tied those fallen angels in chains, it seems as if there is something that Michael did not say, something that he carried with him during the process. This completely alters everything. In the event that these ladies were victims, Michael's job is not limited to only penalizing them. Rather, it also involves showing sympathy. Even though he is the icy executor of heavenly rule, he is more than that. A calamity that shook the very foundations of the universe was seen by him. My dear friends, it is the secret that I can't seem to get out of my head. After looking down on those earthly spouses, whose lives had been irrevocably changed by events that were beyond their control, what did Michael really feel? Is it possible that he fought for them in ways that we will never know? It's not simply a footnote in an old book. This is something more. Something about justice, about power, and about what it means to be trapped in the shadow of angels are all questions that are raised by this narrative. With that out of the way, let's go into the aftermath of this cosmic uprising and the part that Michael played in it all. There were stunning repercussions as a result. The fallen angels, who were watchers, who had the audacity to disobey heaven, were subjected to a punishment that was so harsh that it reverberates into the future. Michael, who is known as the Archangel of Justice, did not only observe the situation, it was him who set the pace. Imagine that these once royal creatures are being dragged down a pit of perpetual darkness by chains of divine power that tie them together. No, you are correct. In order to ensure that they would never again contaminate the world with their irrational wants, Michael was the one who locked them up. This, however, was not the end of it. The Nephilim, who were monstrous progeny created from the coupling of angels and human women, roamed the world like giants of chaos. They were descendants of the union between angels and human women. Their presence was a blight, a live reminder of the transgression that the Watchers had committed. As Michael saw their towering forms throw shadows over people, he observed their reign of horror. This was followed by the Great Flood. In a disaster that was sent directly from the throne of God, the seas rose and swallowed the Nephilim in their whole, causing them to disintegrate completely. Watching the world flood in an effort to purge this terrible mess, Michael stood as a quiet sentinel. It was a sign of the justice that he had just imposed, that his sword, which was blazing with heavenly fire, was resting comfortably by his side. However, here is when things start to get serious. Can you tell me about the wives? In the midst of this crisis involving the heavens, Where did those ladies find themselves? In the Book of Enoch, we are not provided with a definitive response. Their destinies are shrouded in mystery and eerie intrigue, like a shadow that hovers over the narrative. Was it also the case that they were carried away by the flood, a victim of God's wrath? Alternatively, did anything else take place? Just for a moment, picture Michael looking down from heaven, his penetrating gaze set on these girls. Was he of the opinion that they were culpable, that they were the ones who had led the angels astray? Is it possible that he saw anything more, such as innocent people being captured by entities that were beyond their comprehension? Consider the following idea, which is sure to keep you up at night. Imagine for a moment if Michael, the defender of morality, had a momentary sensation of compassion. Imagine for a moment that he implored with God, his voice firm but heavy, to have pity on these many ladies. These people were not angels. The decision to wield cosmic power or to give birth to giants was not made by them. As human beings, they were vulnerable and caught up in a narrative that was far larger than themselves. It's possible that Michael, when appearing before the Celestial Council, argued that the penalty they received was not appropriate for the offense they committed. While the flood surged, it's possible that he's seen their tears and heard their screams, and something moved in his eternal heart. Consider the situation. The Archangel Michael, who will one day fight against the forces of evil in the end times, is the one we are referring to here. In spite of this, he is not only a soldier in this mythical story. The tragedy that is taking place on both sides of the curtain is something that he is a witness to. In the end, the fallen angels were punished by being put up for all time. In the watery tomb, the Nephilim were laid to rest. What about the wives? It seems as if they are keeping their silence in the text on purpose, as if Michael is keeping a secret from himself. Was he able to turn away when the world reset, or did he continue to remain, struggling to make sense of what he had witnessed? It is this moment that defines it. The issue is not limited to only punishing. The weight of justice, the cost of compassion, and the gray zone that exists between them are all relevant to this discussion. Michael did not only carry out the will of God, rather, he lived it, felt it, and stood by it. It is possible that those ladies, who have been overlooked throughout the commotion, hold the key to comprehending his actual character. So, what are your thoughts? It is unclear if he fought for them, or whether he let the waters to decide. Next, let's investigate it more. And with that, we have arrived at the conclusion of this really fantastic voyage. As we have peeled back the layers of a mystery that has been kept concealed for thousands of years, we have unveiled a secret that has altered our perception of Michael, the Archangel. It was not enough for him to be the sword of heaven, bringing down judgment on the angels who had rebelled against God. Instead, it is possible that he was something more, a mute witness to a catastrophe that was taking place directly in front of his eyes during that moment. As far as this cosmic story is concerned, those spouses of the fallen angels were not only incidental details. The narrative of revolt, power, and grief was entangled with them, and they were at the center of it. What about Michael? In every way, he was informed. He saw the reality that lay beneath their destinies, a reality that may have weighed on him more than any conflict could have ever been able to overcome. Allow yourself a moment to reflect about it. Consider the possibility that Michael did not just carry out the will of God without doubt. What if he had a stirring inside himself as he stood there, seeing those ladies who were regular people caught up in a supernatural storm? Neither warriors nor rebels were these individuals. They were daughters, sisters, and mothers, who were all of a sudden tied to creatures of more power than anybody could have imagined. The destiny that befell them was either chosen for them or chosen for them. Even though the Book of Enoch does not provide any clarity on the matter, picture Michael putting it all together. It is possible that he came to the realization that they were victims and not criminals, ensnared in a web that was woven by the Watchers from their own self-centered wants. Additionally, it is possible that this realization brought about a shift in him. Imagine this particular situation. With his sword still shining from the process of securing the fallen angels in chains, Michael stood tall and brilliant. As the Nephilim plummet out of the sky, their monstrous shapes are submerged in the torrents, causing the ground to shake under him. However, his gaze continues to linger on those ladies. Did he have the ability to hear their cries as the sky became darker? Did he see the terror that was visible in their eyes, the bewilderment that came from the world falling apart around them? His expression is inscrutable as he struggles to make sense of what he knows, and I can almost feel him halting. He was obligated to uphold justice. It was his responsibility. What would happen, however, if he were to utter a prayer for them at that very moment? What if he pleaded with God to preserve their souls and release them from the consequences of a sin that they had no intention of committing? The secret that I can't seem to shake is this one. There was more to Michael than simply being a soldier in paradise. While he carried a compassion that no one else dared to display, he may have been a bridge between the anger of God and the weakness of humans. It is possible that those spouses, which have been forgotten by history, may have been the key to understanding his silence. They did not get a punishment or a redemption at the conclusion of their narrative. Rather, it just disappeared. Nevertheless, Michael did not forget. The answer was no. From his vantage point on the brink of eternity, he held a truth that was too delicate to be spoken out loud, that even in the vast scheme of heaven, there is place for grief, for uncertainty, and for compassion. Now, what are our options in light of this? This is a question that is relevant beyond the scope of this video. Was Michael concealing something more profound? Something that the Book of Enoch simply makes a passing reference to? Are there any more mysteries that may be hidden inside those ancient books, whether they pertain to heaven, hell, or the thin line that separates the two? I may not have all of the answers, but one thing I am certain of is that the narrative is not yet ended. This thing is alive, and it is waiting for us to investigate it deeper and ask the questions that no one else will. In your opinion, what did you suppose occurred to those women? Is it possible that Michael fought for them in ways that we will never know? I can't wait to hear what you think of this, so please share your ideas with me in the comments section. Before I go, let's take a moment to reflect on this picture one more time. Michael was standing by himself on a battlefield of broken hopes, and the laments of those who had lost their lives could be heard in the distance. These days, he is more than just an archangel. It is difficult to understand him, since he is a figure trapped between loyalty and something that is horribly human. Not only the secret itself, but also what it exposes about him and about us might be considered the most shocking aspect of the whole. You should hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed discovering this with me. To say that we have barely scratched the surface of what is available is an injustice. Thank you for coming along with me on this extreme journey. Until then, continue your quest to discover the truth. I'll see you in the next one.